salute to the heroes, as was today's kind of theme for the game and all that stuff. I thought that was, that's what it's all about. It's what's nice about it is we're given a platform to also celebrate those people, and obviously the game is what's celebrated, whether it was a win, loss, or draw, whatever. Is not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the fact that we get to celebrate those people, and we have a great appreciation for them. So I want to recognize all those people as I begin. As far as the game goes, probably the biggest disappointment was there was a coaching error the first half. That was not Josh's fault. That was a coaching error, so it was a mistake. That's what it was. And so again, like I said, I don't want to blame to go on him because that wasn't his case. Outside of that, we've got to we got to score more touchdowns, obviously, instead of getting field goals. And when we get in that area, we want to make sure that we get points out of it. And we didn't do that all day today. Defensively, I thought there were some spurts. We had some good times, and all they got the takeaway was good, but we weren't consistent enough. They drove the entire field on us a couple times, and we weren't able to get off. Third down early was good for us, but later it was not. That's why those drives were sustained, and they got thing. The quarterback for them did an outstanding job. He's played well all year, and he played well again today. He hurt us early with some long runs. He hurt us in the middle of the game as well, and late. So he was I would say he was a difference maker for their offense without question. Congratulate them on the win. Obviously, they're a good football team, and outside of that, we're still in the hunt. We're still in the chase, so you can still stay encouraged as a player. There's no reason to get your head down. You can, what you strive for in this game as far as playoffs and championship is still there for the taking, as crazy as it sounds. But if you play like we have in these last few weeks, that's not going to happen. So the good Lord's going to take it from us one of these days if we don't get on track soon, and hopefully that'll be this week. So, questions?
You mentioned before, but converted is one of your trips into the red area. What's it going to take to get production and get over that hump?
Boy, if I knew, we'd have fixed it about 3 weeks ago. Look, I think this is just coach speak, but you hear it all the time. But we work on those things, and we continually work on them, and we're just going to need to do the same. You can't just things just don't happen on their own. If you weren't identifying them and you weren't working on them, then obviously you got a bigger problem. But that's not the case for us. We're just not executing in the critical time. And today there were a couple opportunities where we took a penalty when we shouldn't have. Just there were some mistakes that were disappointing.
Penalties seem to be drive killers for much of the game. So was that a message kind of to the team to be a little bit more disciplined going forward?
Well, we've tried to, that's been something I think for every team in this league. It's being disciplined and things like that. And so yes, all I can really say is yes, you're right. I mean, the penalties have hurt us. They've hurt us in the last few weeks. Without question, they hurt us today.
Coach, can you elaborate a little bit more on the end of that first half? I know you said it was a coaching error. What actually happened? Because it looked like, okay, it was like 5, 6 seconds. You didn't have any timeouts. Everybody in the crowd thought, spike the ball, kick the field goal. What error was it?
It was real simple. I don't know if elaborate. It was a spike situation, and mistakenly, someone over the headset, one of the won't say any names, guys. Don't need pointing fingers. Somebody was. If it was me, it was me. Let's just say that, okay? It was me. I thought it was a fourth. I thought it was a must get a fourth down. In other words, we were going into our fourth down, but it was not. It was a third. We were going into a third down play, so we had time to just spike it. Anyway, we had time to spike that ball and try to get the first, and that's what Josh did. So Josh was not an error.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, you spoke about a QB competition going.
I'm sorry.
You spoke about a possible QB competition at the end of last game. How do you feel Josh Love came out, and what's your confidence in the position going forward?
I still have a lot of confidence in Josh. I really do. I have no reason not to. He was under a lot of pressure today. They were on him. I think what we need to do going forward too is not rely so much on Josh to throw for the first downs as much as give it to people, let them get the first downs. And that's a lot of what goes on in this league. As you see, a lot of guys feed the ball to a lot of people, and it's a very horizontal type of a game as far as where the ball's delivered much of the time. And that's really what we need to kind of focus a little bit more on, because if he's not going to have the time to throw those vertical routes down there, then you got to just give it to the people, let them get it on their own. If they can't get it, then you can take that. But the sacks and and incompletions and things that just due to pressure is not working.
Coach, with 3 receivers out today, talk about what Trey did stepping up and really having a big game, getting you guys down the field a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was very active. Obviously, when you only have 3, they're going to be active because they don't come out. But AJ is our 4th guy, but he's the slash back. And going forward, I think we should be able to get a couple guys back. I'm very hopeful of that, so we can, because receivers run a lot even when that doesn't count. They may not get the ball, but they might have just run a go route. So there's a lot of wear and tear on those guys throughout a game, and when you don't have a lot of bodies, you typically have to rely a little bit more on some different personnel groupings that take them off the field sometimes. But and we did a little bit of that, but I do think there's some adjustments need to be made. If we get some wide receivers back, then a little less adjusting. But that's basically what happens to those guys. But yeah, hopefully get a couple back. Good.
Coach, obviously the offense has been pretty stagnant. In a league where dual threat quarterbacks shine, have you considered using Eric Barriere at all moving forward?
Well, not until this week, but again, I felt that it was, I felt good about the plan and about having Josh do it, but we're going to evaluate every week going forward. If he can give us a spark, and maybe it is something like what you said, maybe that is give him a drive here or there, kind of like we did with Carson, back earlier in the season. But it'll certainly be talked about and looked at, so we'll see what we can do. But I don't want to say that I've lost any confidence in Josh. Josh is a good quarterback. I really do. I think he's a game manager. He is what he is as far as the type of quarterback he is, just like their quarterback is what he is. He's a extend play guy, and if he didn't have the legs today, it might have been a different outcome. But he's got legs, and he used them. He did a great job with them, so he played a good game. But that's not Josh's game. Josh's game is from the pocket, the RPO game, things like that. That's more of Josh's game. But look, I'm excited about the group. I'm looking for them to bounce back. As crazy as it sounds, we're still in the thick of it, and that happens, fortunately for you sometimes, even this late in the season when you lost 4 games in a row. So we need to take advantage of it.
Coach, some encouraging signs. Really slow the last couple weeks before you go on a road stretch, and it opens up the offense for you guys. Does that build any confidence?
It does, yeah. Sure, anytime you can run it, yeah. And we did. I don't know I didn't look at the yards we had. Anybody? I can't see it. So, but anyhow, we had some yards in there. I mean, but I still would expect us to do a better job. I didn't think the running game was that effective for us. It was sporadic, which is kind of what our offense was today. It was kind of sporadic, and really the defense too. We had some good series and we stole the ball time, but then they had a couple long drives. And those can hurt your football team because the offense isn't. If you don't have the ball, you're not going to score points.
Coach, last week you talked about the unsportsmanlike penalties and all the
The what?
You talked about all the unsportsmanlike penalties and
Yeah.
turnovers, and you guys played a clean game and it didn't use the teams.
Yeah, I even saw some restraint 2 or 3 times. I thought was pretty good. Although I was disappointed they didn't throw a flag on the one guy that punched our guy before. It's the retaliation guy that gets the deal. But I don't like in any game when I watch a game, whether it's our team or our opponent, that when a game turns into something like that, it's just messy, sloppy, and it's not football. We're here to play football, not here to it's not the UFC. So I did think it was clean in that respect, even though we had a few penalties ourselves. But I thought it was very clean in that respect. I thought there was a lot of respect between the players. I don't know if they all knew each other, but I saw a lot of guys communicating before the game, during the game, and even after the game, as though there was a lot of some guys, maybe there's camaraderie, guys that played each other. So, but it was a clean game in that respect. At least if it wasn't, I didn't see it. So even over on their sideline when Frank went down with the shoulder, a lot of their players were over there. I could see them talking with our players and stuff, and I thought it was very professional.
Coach, coming into this game on a 3-game skid, moving forward, what are some things you took from today that from the upcoming weeks can use them?
What are some encouraging things? I'm sorry that we can say going forward. Kind of deal with these games. Well, look, we've got 4 more games. We're going to play the teams that are in our division again, and naturally, we beat them. They go down further than they do if somebody else beats them, and we have to be. In other words, when you're head-to-head competition, it's pretty critical. So that's why I say we are still in the thick of it with 4 to go, and been saying that for a few weeks here now. But anyhow, so it's very real. That's encouraging. look at these guys out here, they love to play football, and they're playing because they love it, but they also love, obviously, as a competitor, you want to win, and the beauty in it is they're still optimistic because there's still something they can achieve as a team, and so they'll keep fighting. I don't doubt they will. I think, that's one thing I wouldn't say that our team is short on, is that's effort. I think we've done a pretty good job on that. The guys play hard, work hard. I know all week long we had a great week of practice. We just aren't there yet, So hopefully we get back.
One more question, USFL update from Zoom.
Hey Coach, what's your message to the fan base? Week after week they've showed out at Ford Field. Unfortunately we've had some struggles at home, but just what are your thoughts as we move in? You only got one more home game versus the Stars.
Look, I'll just say this. I've been impressed with our fans from the very first time that we went out there. It was full. They continue to come out. We still have a lot of fans out there today. There was a ton of fans, in my opinion. And so they're doing their part without question. When there's a reason to get excited, they get excited. And so I know they're there because you can hear them. Just keep coming. We're gonna continue to do our part and work hard to bring us a winner. And it looks like it's going to have to happen on the road here for these next few weeks, but hopefully at the end of the season we come back here, we get a win, and it's a very meaningful game. But I would say that our fans have been outstanding. They've been excellent. They've been supportive. They've been here. And I can't say enough good things about them, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm telling you exactly. They get my attention every now and then. I'll also hear a bunch of crowd chatter and all when something good happens, and I turn around and it's like, hey, this is pretty good, right? I like this. We just need to give them a few more reasons to get happy, to get excited. But they're doing a hell of a job, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.